going to cook some sardines, and I'm going to put a bit of fennel in with the sardine, and also I'm going to make a nice kind of peppery sort of sauce stroke vegetable to go with it. I'm not actually going to serve it on the sardine, I'm just going to put it to one side. But it's a really nice combination, the oily sardine with this sort of red pepper and tomato and onion. And there's a little bit of wine as well, a bit of Valpolicella, which is a great wine. You can use most wines, but the thing about this one is quite a sort of sweet and fruity wine. So what we're going to do, first of all, we're going to get an onion, peel the onion, and then we're just going to chop that quite fine, not too fine, but that sort of fineness. And we're going to get some olive oil in this pan here, clove of garlic, and then just slice. The oils should be nice and hot. Then we add the onion, the garlic to the hot oil, and that should fry like that. Should make that noise, which it is. Good. Pepper. There's so many different types of pepper. This time of year you get fantastic peppers. Okay, just take out that a bit. Now you want to take that out, and you don't want to take the seeds out. You don't want any seeds in there, because one, they're just not very nice, and they can be a little bit bitter when they're cooked. Just chop up peppers really roughly, sort of 2 centimetre, 3 centimetre dice, and then just pop them in there. But the most important about this bit is the first bit of the cooking, and the first bit of the cooking is cooking the onion and the pepper, because you want that sweetness from the pepper to come out. Now if I put the tomatoes in now, what's going to happen is it's just going to sort of boil. Get a wooden spoon. Going to put a little bit of salt in there just to get some of the water out of the peppers, and I'm going to put a lid on this so it sort of speeds up the cooking. So these are our sardines. Now I'm just going to get a bit of fennel. Now fennel is really delicious in sardines. Now when I was a little boy, about 8 years old, we went on this trip to Venice, and we went on this boat around the lagoons of Venice, and I'll never forget, the two sort of sailors of this boat made a kind of barbecue on the boat, and they started putting all this fennel sticks on the bottom of the barbecue, and they lit the barbecue, and the smell was smoke everywhere. And they got this sort of big bucket of sardines, and they grilled all these sardines. And I remember my lunch, and I'll never forget this, the day I die, it was 3 sardines served on a paper plate with a big chunk of bread and a glass of fizzy Lambrusco. And it was one of the most memorable meals I've ever had in my life. And ever since then, I've always loved sardines. And the combination of fennel and sardine always comes from them. So, a little bit of fennel inside our sardine. Okay? Now, put a bit of salt on them. Now I'm going to fry these, because you kind of really need a sort of barbecue to cook these sort of really well. So I'm just going to add a bit of olive oil into the pan, and we're just going to fry them. So let's pop it in. So I'm just going to change the pans over, because we've got a bit of a draft from the market here. So put that one there, and we're going to put our sardines in the pan. Okay, so just going to add a dash of red wine, this Valpolicella wine, to our peppers. So just cook that wine out to get rid of the alcohol. And then now we're going to add the tomato. Now you can add fresh tomatoes. Fresh plum tomatoes have got great, great flavour. But I'm just going to use some tin tomatoes, because they're kind of quick and easy. A few chopped tomatoes. Then I'm just going to pop the lid back on. Okay, our sardines are cooked now. Look at them, just sort of glistening in the sunshine. You know, sardine is such a lovely fish. It's an oily fish. It's really, really good for you. Okay, so our peppers are pretty much ready. I'm just going to finish off with a little bit of fresh basil, just to sort of give that kind of slightly aniseedy flavour. Just chopped up. In goes the basil. And you can see, I'm just going to show you now, it's all kind of quite syrupy, and all that tomato's cooked in with the wine. It's got a slightly agridolce kind of taste, sweet and sour, which is kind of quite nice. So there we have our peppers that have been cooked in Valpolicella wine with tomatoes and onions and basil. And now we have our pan-fried sardines, my favourite, with fennel.
As a chef and a fisherman, I'd say that was absolutely excellent. And the fennel gives it a sort of summery vibe, a little bit of sharpness with the sweetness of the flesh. I'm going to give Theo 4.5 out of 5. Because I thoroughly enjoyed that, and it's a really easy dish to do.
So the gentleman in the orange top has given me 4.5, which is great. This is a really simple dish, perfectly seasonal this time of year, and guess what? It's cheap.